This is Haskell Leroy Crawford, 40 years old, a man who looks completely ordinary. But behind that facade lies the perpetrator of a gruesome murder that has shaken the entire city of Aurora.
More or less what we thought we would find. And I understand you were a little upset with some of the things we were saying. But we would like to come back and speak to you and just not be confrontational, nothing like that. We just want to talk to you, okay?
And this is Casey Bach, Crawford's girlfriend. She is not the main perpetrator of the crime, but according to her testimony, Casey said that Crawford threatened and coerced her, forcing her to remain silent about what happened in the apartment that night. A crime was committed in silence and buried beneath the apartment floor, where the victim's body lay encased in concrete for nearly a year. The killer believed the plan was perfect enough to cover it all up, but eventually, the truth found its way to the surface. Saturday, the 1st of April, 2023. A call was made to the Aurora police, and that call uncovered a horrifying secret.
My name is Kyla Duberstein. I'm actually calling from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm calling about my son, who lived here in Phoenix and moved to Denver a couple of years ago. And he went missing around Mother's Day last year.
What's your son's name?
His name is Carl, Karl.
2 days later, on Monday, April 3rd, a detective in charge of the case contacted Kyla to learn more about the information she had provided.
Yes.
I guess it would have been 2 days ago.
Saturday.
To start with, if you don't mind, if we could just kind of start from when Carl kind of came out here and you know, what was going on,
Okay.
what led up to him disappearing and all that.
He moved back to Denver in May of 2021, and he was just living with friends, kind of bouncing around, living in his car. And then...
So, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you say last year, you hadn't heard from him for a long time. What do you think the time frame was on that?
Let's see. Before that Mother's Day, probably 2 weeks.
Okay, so 2 weeks prior to Mother's Day of 2022?
Yes.
You hadn't heard from him. Would that have been unusual?
It was unusual.
In the days that followed, Carl's mother began to feel uneasy. She called her son repeatedly, but each time, only the cold sound of voicemail answered. No one picked up, and no calls were returned. At first, she thought KJ was just busy, but as days passed without any response, a mother's worry turned into a terrible premonition. Finally, she decided to call the police to report that her son was missing.
I kind of waited, and then I had a friend from high school who her husband is a private detective or private investigator. So I hired him, and he did some looking around, and he's the one that found out that Carl had the warrant for his arrest.
Months passed since Carl KJ Beam disappeared, and his family had virtually no clue where he had gone or what had happened to him. Then, one day, Carl, KJ Beam's mother, unexpectedly received a Facebook message from a stranger. The message left her stunned. The sender claimed to know the truth about what had happened to Carl Beam and that her son had actually been murdered.
I'm so sorry to tell you this, that KJ was killed, and sorry. And so, I freaked out, and so I said, how do you know this? Can you tell me more about it? And so then she sent me a long message later in the day saying what her name was. She sent me that longer thing, and she had a lot of information, a lot of detailed information. I knew that it was not a hoax. She didn't know.
Okay.
She just apologized and said she didn't know what happened.
Would you be able to copy those messages she sent to you?
Yes, I'll email that to you right now.
Okay, and I will keep you posted, all right?
Okay.
The real investigation began when Aurora decided to contact Sierra to verify the information they had just received. Sierra stated that Carl, KJ Beam, had been murdered, and his body might be hidden under the floorboards of an apartment in the city. Sierra also mentioned the name Haskell Leroy Crawford, suggesting he was involved in concealing the body. The details she provided were serious enough for detectives to open a formal investigation. Upon verifying this information, police quickly discovered that KJ and Haskell Leroy Crawford did indeed know each other, and Crawford was living with Casey Bach in an apartment in Aurora, Colorado. Police records also showed that KJ and Crawford had previously been arrested together in a catalytic converter theft, proving a direct connection between the two shortly before KJ's disappearance. On the 6th of April 2023, detectives from the Aurora Police Department arrived at an apartment in Aurora, Colorado to execute a search warrant. This was where Haskell Leroy Crawford lived with his girlfriend, Casey Bach.
Take your hands out of there, please. You have a warrant for your arrest, okay? I'll explain it to you here in just a second. I'm going to take your backpack off.
Grab your stuff.
Grab your stuff here. Is it Casey or is it Cassie? Okay, Casey. So we also have a search warrant for the apartment. Yeah, I understand you have 2 dogs in there. Are they friendly?
No.
Okay. What are their names?
They're hooking her up.
DOG and Pluto.
Okay. So let me just get you situated here and then we'll explain more what's going on.
Casey was taken to the Aurora police station for questioning to clarify information related to the disappearance of Carl KJ Beam, while investigators began preparing to search the apartment. After ensuring the surrounding area was secure, officers began gathering outside the house, preparing to conduct a search inside. Step by step, they prepared to enter the apartment where they believed the answers to Carl KJ Beam's mysterious disappearance might be hidden.
We're making it 3. We're making it 3. We on now? Yep. Yeah. Please off her you got to push past and then we'll have someone clear the closet. Yep.
During the search of the apartment, investigators opened each room and examined areas where something might be hidden. In a closet, they discovered something unusual. Beneath the floor was a locked panel, seemingly leading to an underground chamber. When officers opened this panel, they found a hollow space beneath the floor. Immediately, a strong, foul odor emanated from within, prompting investigators to suspect something amiss. Upon closer inspection of the space, they saw a large, unusually shaped block of concrete. Through small cracks in the concrete surface, officers began to notice fragments of human bones protruding. Based on the information they had gathered during the investigation, detectives believed the body buried beneath the concrete was that of Carl KJ Beam, who had been missing for months.
Now, what I can tell you is we did make it into the crawl space, and we found more or less what we thought we would find. And I understand you were a little upset with some of the things we were saying. But we would like to come back and speak to you and just not be confrontational, nothing like that. We just want to talk to you, okay? But as I mentioned, our other detectives were over there and they did go into the crawl space we were talking about and
you found the body under my floors?
Well, that appears to be what we found.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of up to you. That's why we're coming here to talk to you. And we're kind of to that point where obviously we're going to have an ongoing investigation, right? There's a lot of work for us to do. But now is your time. Okay? Now is your time.
I don't
to say your piece.
My piece?
To try to give us, because you're not going to have, it would be unlikely that you're going to have another opportunity to give us your side of the story.
I don't even know anything about this. How would I have to say my piece with what?
And Casey, here's the deal. We're trying to be very respectful to you because we don't think that you're the primary person involved in this. We don't. That's why we're being, for lack of a better term, we're being soft. Okay? Because we don't think that you are the person who created this whole mess. Okay? But we do think you know about it. And we do think that maybe you were somehow involved in getting this under here. So this is your opportunity to decide where we're going to go with this.
I don't know anything about this.
Okay? Well, that's the problem. You can't sit and tell me that you don't know anything about it when the whole way we got here was by you telling somebody that this is what happened.
Yeah, all of that is made up.
Casey Bach initially maintained that she knew nothing about what had happened. Throughout her interviews with investigators, she repeatedly stated that she was not involved and had no knowledge of what was going on. But as the investigation progressed and evidence began to emerge, that story could not hold up for long.
Yeah, because I didn't say that to anybody.
Well, that's not made up.
What the hell is that?
You tell me. It's under your house.
That looks like 2 pieces of wood, dude. Like,
This, you're right. That you are absolutely
know
right.
what's
This
going
looks like
on.
2 pieces of wood. What is this?
Do I look like I'm a criminal?
Did we say that?
No,
We didn't say that, did we?
I'm not
We never,
saying you said
we
that.
never accused you of being a criminal. We haven't made any comments
I would
on,
like my
on
lawyer
you.
then.
Despite Casey Bach's previous insistence that she knew nothing about what had happened, investigators decided to detain her while they continued their investigation. That evening, while Casey was in custody, an unexpected development emerged. At approximately 7:44 p.m., police received a call from a man who claimed to be romantically involved with Casey. He stated that Casey had contacted him from prison and asked him to relay a message to the police that she wanted to speak with the detectives. This information was quickly relayed to the investigative team, raising the possibility that Casey was finally ready to share what she knew about the incident.
Sit down over there. Okay. Thanks.
Of course, sir, Chief.
Thank you. All right, Cassie. Well, we were contacted by your boyfriend, and he told us that you would like to speak to us.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm that that is correct, that you would like to speak to us. Okay. Do you understand that before you asked for an attorney, right?
Yeah.
And do you understand that all those rights still apply to you?
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, would you like to speak to us now?
Yeah.
Okay. What can we do for you? How can we help you? What you're able to say?
No, you probably can't help me. I just know that I don't want these charges placed on me because I did not do this. There was one night he was talking about him and KJ were having problems, and that he thought KJ was a rat and was working with cops and that it needed to be taken care of.
Okay.
And the next thing I knew, I was coming home from work. And when I got home, he was in my apartment. And KJ was already dead. In my bedroom. And he forced me to help him move KJ.
I'm sure this is very difficult for you.
No, I don't.
Do you know what had happened?
No. I know I seen a bag over KJ's head.
What kind of bag?
I don't know, it's just a bag. It's the white bags.
Like a white plastic sack?
Yeah. I don't know, like a white Walmart bag.
Like
dude.
a grocery type bag? Okay.
You know,
It's okay, take a little time.
I don't know, dude. I never thought that this would be my life. I never thought that anything that has unfolded in my life would be my life. charges. And it's all from a man that I just should have stayed far, far away from.
We're talking about Leroy?
Yeah.
Casey Bach began talking about her life with Haskell Leroy Crawford. According to her, their relationship had long been tense and toxic. Casey described a living environment plagued by domestic violence, drug use, and constant arguments.
And I hate to kind of come back to something really traumatic, but let's talk about, you say Leroy made you help move KJ down under there.
I couldn't move him by himself.
Okay.
I told him I didn't want to.
Okay.
I tried to leave, he grabbed my arm.
So did you guys pick him up and put him down there?
No. He forced me to drag him.
Drag him? Was there blood anywhere?
No, I didn't see any blood anywhere.
Weapons, like anything at all, from knives to baseball bats? Or
I mean, I have weapons all over my house.
did any of them appear to have been used?
No.
How did the cement and all that stuff get down there? I know we showed you the photograph. How did all that end up down there?
Because he thought it would be smart to cover him in cement.
Leroy did?
Yeah.
And how long did that take? Did he go and do that night? Did he that day? Did he do it over the course of a few days?
I think he did it the next day.
Detectives continued to press Casey Bach, trying to glean more details about what had happened in the apartment. However, at the time, Casey appeared unstable. She was confused, spoke incoherently, and repeatedly couldn't recall the events clearly. According to her, drug use during that period had clouded her memory, forcing detectives to repeatedly re-examine her to try and piece together the fragmented information from her testimony. On the 5th of April 2023, investigators called in a task force to excavate the concrete in the space beneath the floor. This process was carried out carefully to gather evidence and accurately identify the body found underneath. While the experts continued working at the scene, another team of detectives immediately shifted their investigation to Haskell Leroy Crawford. That same day, investigators from the Aurora Police Department went to the Jefferson County Detention Center, where Haskell Leroy Crawford was being held in custody for another violent crime. There, the detectives requested to see Crawford for questioning, hoping he could provide answers regarding the death of Carl K.J. Beam.
How you doing this morning? All right. We're detectives with the Aurora Police Department. We're at the Major Crime Section, okay? We're here to hopefully talk to you about a case we're investigating. I will let you know we're not here talking about your case that you're in custody on, okay? So it's important that you understand that. It's also important you understand we record all our interviews, okay? We're actually required to do that by the state. I know you see all the cops with body cameras on and all that. Now, because I do have you here, I am required to read you your rights, okay? And I assume you've been through that before and you kind of understand how that works. It's because you're in custody and I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? Are you cool with that?
I don't know. Last time I talked to cops, I ended up here.
If that's the case, I'll just go ahead and lay it out to you, okay? We're currently investigating a situation at the mother of your children's apartment, and that's Casey, right? Okay, and we are actually in the process of serving a search warrant there. Basically, we got some information which led us to get this search warrant and go into the apartment. All right, now I would like to ask you some things about that. That's why we're here, okay?
When detectives met Haskell Leroy Crawford in the prison interrogation room, he appeared remarkably calm as police explained their purpose. Crawford sat quietly, listening as investigators explained they were investigating a case involving Carl K.J. Beam. Outwardly, he showed no signs of panic or surprise. But that calm wouldn't last long. Minutes later, Crawford began to face a barrage of questions from the detectives, and this time, He wasn't just facing the police investigation, he was facing the truth about the man he had murdered.
Well, as I mentioned, we're investigating a situation over at Casey's house. What I would like to do to start with is, if you don't mind, I'd just show you a photo of somebody and tell me if you can tell me who it is.
It was the police officer's simple statement, "I'll show you a picture. See if you recognize this person," that made Haskell Leroy Crawford realize the detectives were very close to the truth about what had happened.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I know this.
Okay, who is it?
It's KJ.
KJ? Who is KJ to you?
Yeah, he was one of my friends.
Okay. Well, he's been missing. We're trying to find out what's going on with him, okay? So, last time you saw him, do you know about when that was?
I don't. It's been a while, like a year.
Okay.
What does all that have to do? I knew what was going on, so.
Okay. Well, we're basically investigating his disappearance. Okay. We're the major crime section. We investigate missing persons and homicides. Okay. So we're
The fact
investigating.
that I was in here for talking to a cop.
I'm sorry?
As in the fact that I'm even being charged of something I didn't do for talking to a cop, I think I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I literally was helpful as the cop I talked to, and I'm gonna face him on target charges.
Okay.
For something I didn't do, so.
Well, I don't have anything to do with that, okay?
I know, but still, I think I'm done.
After the concrete beneath the floor was excavated, forensic experts and investigators began examining the body found inside. Step by step, evidence was collected and analyzed to determine the victim's identity and the cause of death. Following the examination, the county medical examiner's office confirmed that the body was indeed Carl K.J. Beam. The examination also indicated that his death was not of natural cause, and the case was officially classified as homicide. This discovery strengthened the detectives' suspicions and brought the investigation closer to prosecuting the perpetrator behind KJ's death. What was bound to happen eventually did. In July 2023, after more than 3 months in custody and having regained her composure, Casey Bach decided not to remain silent any longer. This time, sitting before the detectives, she stated that she was ready to tell the whole truth about what had happened in the apartment. Casey's subsequent revelations helped investigators piece together the final fragments of the case, shedding light on how Carl, K.J. Beam, was murdered and why his body had been hidden under concrete for months.
Well, we were saying initially we just give you another chance to kind of tell us about what happened that day, and then from there we can ask some more questions.
I don't remember why KJ was coming over that evening. All I really remember is that Leroy had a 9mm on him. And he pointed it at me and said, I'm going to do what he said.
So Leroy pointed a gun at you,
Yeah.
the 9mm, and said, "You're going to do what he says." Okay. So you answered the door for KJ.
Yeah, he told me to go to KJ's.
Okay. Was Leroy hiding? Was he in your back? Was he?
No, he was hiding in the corner because they entered through my back door.
Okay, understood. So Leroy's hiding here, all right, and then KJ comes in this sliding door.
Yeah, he told me to let him in and to lock the door behind.
Okay. And then what?
And I brought KJ in, I'm pretty sure. I'm just like, hey, do you want to smoke? And that's when I walked past Leroy, and Leroy had my 20 gauge in his hand.
Okay, so now at this point he doesn't have
He didn't have
the 9mm anymore, he's got a 20
Yeah,
gauge shotgun. And it was, remind me, that was also in the apartment, was it not?
Yes, that was mine. He brought KJ back, told him not to do anything stupid, and get out his hands.
So he's pointing the gun at KJ. Okay, and what is KJ doing when he's doing it?
Kind of just standing there, and Leroy walked around and got behind him in the living room and told him to come back in.
And is that your bedroom? When it's all the way at the end of the hall. Okay. And I know this is probably really hard, okay? But after they went into the back bedroom, then what?
Pretty much just tormented him for hours.
Okay. Did you see any of that?
I see nothing.
What did he do?
Exactly. I knew that there was music playing.
Did you hear KJ scream, yell, or anything like that?
The music was playing really loud.
Did Leroy come and go out of the room, or was he back there the entire time? Okay. I'll ask first, did you ever hear any gunshots?
I'm pretty sure he hit KJ with the gun once. Before the hammer.
And what makes you think that?
I just remember that.
Okay. So you saw that?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Like I said, obviously, I was really high.
Do you recall what kind of things he was saying?
I think he was trying to get out of them. The KJ was working with the vets.
Okay. So Leroy thought that KJ was working with the government or the police or something.
Casey Bach recounted what she witnessed in the apartment the night Carl KJ Beam arrived. According to her, after KJ entered the house, Haskell Leroy Crawford immediately overpowered him. Crawford believed KJ had betrayed him and tipped off the police, so he began interrogating and torturing KJ for hours. Casey said that during that time, Crawford repeatedly threatened, beat, and pressured KJ to confess to things he believed to be true. Inside the apartment, the atmosphere became tense and violent as KJ was held captive while Crawford became increasingly out of control. Casey's account suggests that Carl KJ Beam's final hours were filled with pain and despair before everything ended with his death.
Okay,
I walked back there and all I see was KJ on the right side of my toilet, and Leroy had a wire wrapped around his neck, and he was pulling on it from my bathroom with my shower. He was wrapped around the shower.
Okay, so KJ is being pulled around the neck with this wire, and that wire is wrapped around the shower head, the shower curtain, shower door. Okay, so at that point, did KJ look like he was still alive? No. Right. And what made, and I'm sorry, I know this is tough.
What made me think
What made
that?
you think he was dead? Or how did you know he was dead?
That's what Leroy wanted that night, was to kill him.
Haskell Leroy Crawford ordered her to help clean up the scene inside the apartment. Casey said she was terrified and felt she had no choice but to do what Crawford asked. She was forced to clean up the evidence in the room and try to erase what had just happened, while Crawford controlled the situation and constantly told her to keep quiet. According to Casey, it was during that time that they began concealing Carl KJ Beam's body.
He just killed his best friend. I was pretty scared. I was scared for my life. And he's sitting there telling me he's going to rape me. And all I'm thinking about is my children are about to wake up, and he's making me clean up blood from his best friend. So I was pretty scared.
After everything was over, Haskell Leroy Crawford began trying to conceal Carl KJ Beam's body. Crawford took a white bedsheet from the apartment and wrapped KJ's body in it, then dragged the body across the floor. Casey recounted that Crawford forced her to help move the body down into the space under the floor of the apartment.
So now KJ is under the crawl space, and you said Leroy left and didn't come back for, I think initially you said a couple days. How long do you think it was?
I really can't remember. I know that it was like 2 or 3 days until he covered him up.
Okay. And what did he bring with him to do that?
Like 3 bags of concrete. It. You know, all of his work was already at my house, so pretty sure everything he needed was already there.
Gotcha. So after he did that, and do you know about how long that took him to do that? Did he say anything to you after that? What was his demeanor after all that?
We're not going to talk about this.
Did he make any threats then?
Yeah, he heard me. We found out. He said, and people knew in case I did let anyone know.
Do you have a decent, and I don't expect you to be able to like point to a date on the calendar or anything like that, but now that we've gone through all this, do you have a decent idea when this occurred? Obviously you said it was summer.
No, I don't really remember. This was a while ago. Like I said, it was a lot of drugs, so I don't really remember.
When we spoke to you, the second time, last time when we would take you over to the jail, and you gave us kind of a better account of what happened. Why not give us the whole story then?
I'm so scared.
Okay. And scared of what?
For what was going to happen to me, my safety, my kids' safety. Where I still know where my kids are at, and that didn't really put me past him, that he wouldn't do something to hurt them.
The investigation finally concluded when all the evidence and testimonies were pieced together. Overwhelmed by the evidence, Haskell Leroy Crawford chose to plead guilty in court. According to court records, Crawford admitted to murdering Carl KJ Beam after believing KJ had betrayed him and tipped off the police. In April 2025, the court sentenced Haskell Leroy Crawford to 30 years in prison for second-degree murder. As for Casey Bach, prosecutors argued that she was not the direct perpetrator of KJ's death, but that she participated in covering up the crime and disposing of the body. After cooperating with investigators and providing crucial testimony that helped clarify the case, Casey pleaded guilty as an accomplice. The court decided to give her a suspended sentence, subject to court-supervised conditions. For Carl KJ Beam's family, that sentence couldn't bring him back. But at least the truth about what happened to him was finally revealed after months of being hidden under the floorboards of an apartment. This case also leaves a profound lesson. Sometimes toxic, violent, and drug-fueled relationships can lead people to cruel and irreversible decisions. And in the world of crime, petty suspicions and hatred can sometimes turn into an irreparable tragedy. But no matter how well a crime is concealed, the truth will eventually find a way to come to light.